Nearly 2 years after Savannah Spurlock disappeared, David Sparks, one of the men seen here leaving a Lexington bar with her that cold January night, finally gets his punishment. It was short and swift. Because of COVID-19, Sparks appeared virtually from jail as Spurlock's family watched the sentencing on a laptop. Sometimes defendants apologize for their crimes. Sparks said nothing, and that didn't go unnoticed.
I think he got off real easy and real cushy being behind a computer screen, behind a mask, not having to face the people he devastated in person.
He received 50 years in prison for murdering Spurlock. He pled guilty to the crime earlier this month, along with evidence tampering and abuse of a corpse. For months, he told police that after they left a bar, Spurlock came to his Garrett County home and partied, but claimed she left on her own. That's a story police never believed. Her body would be found 6 months later, buried at his parents' home, her feet bound and Spurlock's body wrapped in garbage bags. Authorities never publicly released how she died. After today's sentencing, the family met privately with prosecutors to ask their own tough questions. Her aunt told us later some were answered, others were not.
What happened in that house that night, I think, is between him and Savannah and God, because there's so much that isn't known.
Lee Searcy, LEX 18 News.
Incredibly tragic, this story. I mean, it is beyond heartbreaking. Now, Savannah's family has put together a Facebook page to honor her memory. And after the sentencing hearing, they say that they met with the prosecutor, as you heard, and the detective to try to get more answers about what happened to Savannah and why it happened. Here's what they wrote. Investigators do not know how or why David killed Savannah. Her autopsy came back inconclusive all those months ago. They have their speculations, but only David can provide the answer. We know he did this alone. Those are the only details we would like to provide for now. And joining us right now, folks, we've got three of Savannah's strongest advocates. We've got Lisa Thomas, Savannah's aunt, who's joining us by phone. Sabrina Spiritos, Savannah's close friend, and Savannah's 14-year-old sister, Stephanie. First of all, everyone, on behalf of all the folks here at Court TV, our thoughts and prayers and deepest condolences to you all. The first question I have, and perhaps I'll give this one to Lisa. We'll start with Lisa. Mm-hmm. Those children, how are Savannah's children doing?
They are doing really well. They've got a huge support system around them. You see two of those amazing support systems right there. Stephanie and Sabrina provide so much love for those boys, and they've got so many people that adore them and help take care of them.
Well, we know the family is amazing, and coming together in what is an incredible tragedy. Stephanie, this is something no one should have to go through. No family should have to endure. Are you feeling? And this is a deep question. And are you feeling any sense of justice tonight after everything that's happened here?
I felt some justice, but I think all justice will be served when we leave this earth and on Judgment Day, when David Sparks stands with God.
Sabrina?
That's what I would say.
Yeah. Sabrina, tell me a little bit about your friend, Savannah, and what those children are missing, what you're missing, and what all of us are missing tonight.
So Savannah, we're missing a huge piece of someone who should still be on this earth. I mean, just the most joyful, giving, loving, kind, generous person. Just so beautiful, and it's just not fair. I mean, it really is not fair that her kids don't have their mother anymore, and to learn some of the details that we did learn, I don't think I can ever make peace with the why. It's just like why, and like Lisa and Stephanie have said, only God knows, and it's just very sad because, of course, it could have happened to anybody, but she may have been the least deserving person for this to ever happen to her.
Lisa, you had an opportunity to speak with investigators and prosecutors and ask questions. And what are the unanswered questions for you as we sit here tonight and don't ever have to hear from David Sparks again, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest unanswered is the why. I think we're all just not understanding the why. I mean, it seemed to be a jovial night out, and the other two men left, and something happened in that time period, and he took that action. And it's I think that's the biggest question for me. The questions we did have answered, I think we all felt a lot more peace after that, because the sentencing was so short. It was so weird, and his face would just pop up on the screen and scare you. You know, it's like those Zoom calls are so weird. And so it felt really peaceful for me to get a lot of questions answered and to really let other family members ask what they needed to ask. Even though we don't know the how or the why, I definitely feel a lot more peaceful about things.
Stephanie, there's never a reason why that will ever make any sense, because it doesn't make sense. You know, stories and cases and horrific crimes like this just, they happen. For you, Stephanie, you're going to play a huge role in the lives of those 4 kids. At some point, they're going to be asking a lot of questions and asking about their mom. What are the stories that you're going to tell them?
There was one time when we went to Kentucky Kingdom. We rode rides. We stayed up late and played games, and she was always there for me. And I know I'm going to try to be there for them all the time, like she was for me.
I know you will be. I know you will be. Sabrina, take us, for people who follow stories like this and tragedies like this from the outside looking in, and it's not our best friend, it's not our sister, it's not our daughter. Can you give folks some idea what it's like when someone you love and care about goes missing, and then little by little you're finding out the worst details ever?
Yeah, definitely. The entire time that we were kind of going through this, that was some of the negative things that people would say, victim shaming, victim blaming, and things like that. And it's definitely not something that you can even halfway explain when you're actually the one going through it. I don't know. There's really no words. I can't really explain. I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard question for me to answer. It's.
I can piggyback.
It's almost
on that
more
if
of.
you want.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lisa.
I think it's sort of always a nauseated feeling, and a feeling of shivering, a feeling of just like at any moment you could just vomit and you could pass out. And any phone call that comes in, is this it? Is this happening? Are we getting the answer? And then we don't get the answer, and month by month it continues and it continues, and it leaves you raw.
Well, I've been covering stories, unfortunately. Well, it's my job, right? And unfortunately, there are other families that have been in the position that you're in. And I never presume that there'll ever be closure for a family, but I hope at the end of the day there is just a little sense of justice, that the person responsible has been held responsible. And I want to leave on this note. Stephanie, if you could, on behalf of all of us here at Court TV, next time you have a chance, if you could just give a real big hug to those 4 kids for us.
I will.
We'll be back.